divided by price was $40 was the income, and you could watch 10 movies maximum. Now the income is $40, but the movie price is $5 per movie at home. So movie home. So now you'll be watching eight movies at home maximum. Maximum possible. So when movies were $4, the home movies were $4, you could watch 10 movies at home maximum. Now that the price went up for home movies, now you can only watch 8 movies at home, your maximum possible times you can watch at home. So what happens is your budget line shifted. Budget line shifts in before for $40 you could watch 10 movies at home. Now for $40 you can watch 8 movies at home. So budget line shifted. So this is your B1, this is your B2.
If you see one home movie, you can go see
What?
if you see one home movie with the new $5 price, are you going to see 4.5 theater movies? Or is that?
If you see one home movie
Yeah.
for $5, okay, we can do that. So can I draw a new one here? Or I can erase this. Let me erase this. So with the new price, if you watch one movie, home movie at home, so that costs you $5, right? You still have, what, $35 left? So with $35, how much of theater can you watch? 35 divided by $8. What is that?
4.
Huh?
4 times 8, 20, 32.
4 3/8.
4 point something?
Yeah.
Okay. So 4.5 or something times you can watch movies. Does that answer your question?
Kind of. It's the decimal on the theater because you can't really have the decimal on it.
I know, but it's just arbitrary numbers, we're just assigning. The point is, so he's saying what's the decimal like? The point here is that if you're doing one activity, you have less money to do the other activity. That's the point. So even though you're getting 4.5 theater movies you can watch and you're 4.5 movie, what's that? These numbers are arbitrary. It's just hypothetical to show you that if you're spending your money on one activity, you are on a budget constraint. You can only do so much of the other activity because you already spent your money doing this one. You see?
Do you want us to have the answers for both home movie? So the price of the home movie increases to $5. Do you want us to get the decimal for the amount of theater we can?
If it asks you, you
Okay.
should. But I don't think I'm asking you for
Unless
that.
specified, we don't need to worry about
Yeah.
it. Okay.
I don't think on the test I'm asking you about it. But it's a concept to understand
Mm-hmm.
before we move on to the more in-depth stuff. So you understand the point? Okay. Good, I'm glad you asked. So again, the point is that when you have an income, a limited number of money, you can do either one activity or other activity. It's not like you can do everything in the world at the same time. You have limited budget, right? So that's the point of this consumption possibility frontier, that you're given an income, $40, 2 choices. Okay, how can you spend? What are the different possibilities of you spending the $40 on movies, right? All of these people who are not here today are going to be here in the next class, and they're not going to understand anything I'm talking about. Not cool. And then I'm supposed to explain it again? Oh wait, did you already draw that?
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. You can keep it on. So there is X activity, like you could, and there's a Y activity. X is an activity you can spend your money on. Y is an activity you can spend your money on, right? This is your. If you drew it already, that's fine. I'm eventually going to draw that. But initially, this is your budget line. You have a given income, and you could do certain amount of Y with it or certain amount of X with it. You could use all your money to do Y. That would be like this point here. All of the money, the maximum you could do with it. All of it could be in Y. Or you could spend all of your money doing X, which would be this point on the budget line, meaning you're spending all your money to do X. Or you could be on any point on the curve where you're doing a little bit of Y and a little bit of X. You know, you're combining different possibilities. Now, let's talk about prices. If price of X increases, what happens? So we have activity X, which has become more expensive now. What's going to happen as a result of that increase in price of X? How is your consumption of X going to get affected? How is your budget line going to get affected? Are you going to consume more of X or less of X?
That's our S.
You're going to consume less of X. So the budget line will actually shift in. The budget line, you're going to, price of X is increasing, right? So your budget line would shift in like that, and this is your new budget line and your new consumption of X, which is less than your previous consumption of X. So this was the X you were consuming before the price increase, which was greater, and this is the X you're consuming now after the increase in price. You're consuming less X now. So the budget line decreased for X. It shifted in. What if I say, if price of X decreases, what happens to consumption of X? What happens to consumption of X? Is it going to increase or decrease?
Increase.
It's going to increase. X is cheaper now, so the consumption of X will increase and the budget line will shift outward. So this is your B2 now, which means price of X went down and your consumption went up. So this X3, you're consuming more than you were consuming before. Why? Because price of X went down.
Wait, could you repeat that?
So because price of X went down, you're gonna consume more of X. So the budget line shifts outward, showing that the X3 you're consuming now is more than the X you were consuming initially. This is B0, the initial budget line. After the decrease in price of X, you're consuming more of X. After the decrease in price, you're consuming more X. So budget line increases towards X or shifts out. What happens if your income, so this is price of a product, right? Price of an activity, change in price of an activity. What happens if income changes? So this was change in price of a product or activity. This is change in income. This is activity Y, activity X. So we're still talking about the same activities you do with your income. Activity Y and X. This is your income budget line, initial income budget line. When your income increases, you're gonna consume more of Y and more of X. Income increases, you consume more of and more of X. So when your income increases, your income or your budget line shifts out, and now you're consuming both more Y and more X. What if your income decreases? If your income decreases, guess what's going to happen? You're going to consume less of Y and less of X.
If inflation happen, it also shifting, huh?
It's shifting, right? Yeah, it's shifting. So if income decreases, you consume less of Y and less of X. So that makes sense, right? If our incomes would increase, we'll consume more of everything that we consume. Like we'll go out more, we'll eat out more, we'll watch movies more. If our incomes decrease, we would consume less of dining. We'll go out less, maybe watch less movies in the theaters. So your entire consumption function will decrease if your income decreases. You'll consume less of Y and less of X. So we're going to stop here unless you guys have a question. and I'll see you Wednesday. Keep studying for this class and all your classes.